I'm Eric Rodriguez with your Garrison Public Affairs Office. Today, we're talking about all things Halloween safety. All that and more here on today's Great Big Podcast. Welcome back to the Great Big Podcast, and today's special guest, we've got Chris, the Project Director for Cavalry Family Housing, talking about some Halloween safety tips for this year. Chris, can you talk about some of the cool stuff that Fort Cavazos has planned for Halloween this year?
Well, first of all, Eric, it's a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to come and tell our story and what's happening here in housing on Fort Cavazos. And we have a lot of stuff planned inside of Cavalry Family Housing. Of course, last week, you guys were out there for our celebration of National Night Out. National Night Out is an award-winning event here in Fort Cavazos. We've won for the last 14 years in two categories, in the military categories. And it celebrates our relationship that we have with our Directorate of Emergency Services, our fire and police forces that are out there. You'll see some of these other events that Cavalry Family Housing is putting together. They're on Facebook. We're pushing out messages on all these events as we do throughout the entire year, or also in our newsletter. We push out the newsletter every month. But we have some special events scheduled just for Halloween, including our Halloween decorating contest, which will be on between the 18th and 25th of October for judging the outside of the homes as well as the lawns. Pumpkin carving contest, which will be on the 22nd of October. A pet costume contest. It'll be on the 29th of October. And then, of course, the capstone event will be trick-or-treating. That will be on the 31st of October from 6 to 9 p.m. inside of our communities.
All sound like some really awesome activities planned for the community and the residents on Fort Cavazos. So can you talk about some of the different agencies and what kind of efforts went into planning all these different events and for the big night of execution?
As I mentioned before, National Night Out kind of highlighted this, but we are always in close partnership with the Directorate of Emergency Services, the fire and police forces. And we have a very close relationship with them when we execute these events, and they are always out in the neighborhoods doing a great job, especially monitoring traffic and making sure that there's safe conduct of our Halloween, all of our celebrations that we do in these communities, making sure that we're being safe out there in these housing areas. The Garrison, the Corps, they're always big supporters too, because together we make a great team in trying to make better communities out here in Fort Cavazos.
That's amazing. Having all that support from the command teams is definitely a great buy-in. So with all these agencies working together and Halloween being such a big night, do you guys have any safety tips that are specific that you guys have all worked out for what we're doing?
Yeah, so you'll see these again being posted on Facebook and the newsletter, but and this goes for everyone, on and off post. But we recommend a light-colored, reflective costume for your child or for adults that are out there, walking around on Halloween. Beards and wigs that don't cover the mouth, the nose, or the eyes. Putting a name on your child with your phone number in case they get lost in the huge number of people that'll come out and trick or treat. Because some of these streets out there get hundreds of kids that are coming through, and it's a very well attended event. Trick or treating is swords and wands or any other sort of attachment they may have. Make sure they're short and they're flexible. Probably the biggest thing though is if you're out driving around on the 31st of October, slow down. Slow down because there'll be kids all over the place, walking, running, walking across the street, whatnot. And then finally, when you're done trick-or-treating and you've got your bag full of goodies, making sure you check the candy when you get home before you allow your children to eat the candy.
Absolutely. I think that's lasted through the tests of time. Definitely check the loot bag. So with all the cool stuff happening, you guys have some competitions going on, a few contests. I know people could get a little wild with the decorating. Yeah. We all have our own limits, and sometimes we don't know them. But what are some of the definite don'ts for what we're doing out here?
Well, we love decorations. We love decorations. And again, we do have regulations here on post. We got Army regulations. We also have regulations in Cavalry Family Housing as far as our resident guide is concerned. And we encourage residents to put up decorations. Decorations can go up 45 days before the celebration, and they have to come down 30 days after the holiday. So that's the big one. The second thing I like to mention too is if you're hanging lights, make sure that they're safety approved lights. Do not climb up on the roof though. Do not climb up on the roof and do not nail into the house, into the roof, into the fascia, into the siding. There are clips and there's approved tape that you can use in order to put those lights up. If you got any questions at all, don't hesitate to contact Cavalry Family Housing or your community manager, and they will give you all the guidelines for what's appropriate and acceptable for the good of the community. The decor, what they put up, also should be in good taste as well. And then finally, and this is an important one too, make sure that residents are mindful of any excessive light or noise, because we do have quiet hours here in this post between 10 o'clock at night and 5 o'clock in the morning.
Still conducting business, still training. All right. So now we get to the goodies, right?
Right.
I'm a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup guy. I will raid the kids' candy bags for all the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. What was your favorite Halloween candy?
Well, when I did go trick-or-treating when I was very young, we were talking about this before, I like the candy corn. I like the candy corn. I thought it was great. But I'll tell you now that I'm older, I'm an older soldier for life, the doctors are telling me that I need to look for the fruit. So I'll take an apple, I'll take an orange, I'll take something healthy. But I still encourage the kids to go with the candy corn.
I think there's some orange on a candy corn. That counts, right?
Yeah.
So what are we going to be for Halloween?
Well, if you went to last week's National Night Out, our theme was out of this world. And I was a Star Wars fan. I still am a Star Wars fan. And I was dressed up as one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. I don't leave it at that. If you went out there, you may know who I was. I had a mask on too, so you would not know who I am without me pulling my mask off. But I'll leave it at that.
I'm kind of a Star Wars geek myself, so hearing the mask and knowing your build, I got a few ideas, but I won't spoil the surprise. So you mentioned you were an empty nester. You got a pretty wicked costume lined up for this year. What is your most cherished memory of a Halloween tradition?
Well, again, I used to love taking my children out trick-or-treating. I lived on post for a good portion of my time in the Army. Again, it was fun to hang out with my children and our friends that we met at the various posts that I was at. Lifelong friends that have been with me and my wife for years, and my children too. And I really enjoyed that. So that was a favorite memory of mine from when my kids were young. Now that I'm older though, and I'm an empty nester like you said, I like to, my wife and I like to pack a bag, some chairs and a table, a bag of candy. Head over to my neighbor's house, we set up a fire pit, maybe have some adult beverages, and we hand out candy to all the kids walking through our neighborhood in Harker Heights.
So it's still a good time for everybody.
Absolutely.
Gotta love that. Is there anything you'd like to add, Chris, that we haven't gotten to touch on?
No, I just wanted to say that I think I speak for the Army as well, but for Cavalry Family Housing and our housing office here, we enjoy seeing community come together. We enjoy seeing community that started each cul-de-sac at a time. We want to see our neighbors develop those lifelong friendships that I mentioned before, that they can carry on for the rest of their Army career, and really have a great impression of Cavalry Family Housing and Fort Cavazos and their time here in Central Texas, because it is a great place for a reason, and this is one of the reasons why it's called the Great Place. Most importantly though, and I guess this is the theme of the entire interview, we want to keep people safe. We want to make sure that our residents, our employees, all the Army employees all get safely home to their families every night.
Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate your time. So it's just like Chris said, we want everybody to be safe, happy, and have a great time. Don't forget, some of the things that we talked about today don't always just work on post. They work off the installation as well. We hope you guys have a great family holiday.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Shabazz. I am the Victim Advocate Program Manager for Army Community Service Family Advocacy Program, better known as FAP.
And I am Sharon Jones, Family Advocacy Program Specialist.
Today we're here to talk to you about October, which is the month of awareness for domestic violence. We have tons of activities that we are going to be participating in. We would like the community to come out and show that support for us. But for our theme this month is Pause, What's Inside Matters. This is going to be our time to pause and reflect on the impact that domestic violence has on our community. And then What's Inside Matter is about the resiliency that we are helping to build within our community. Every Friday, we're asking everybody to wear purple. It doesn't matter where you are. Post it on social media, tag us, come by, see us. We enjoy seeing people and giving the education piece to all of that. So again, October 1st through October 31st, we will be bringing awareness to Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And again, that is our program, Army Community Service Family Advocacy Program, better known as FAP.
Later on in the month, we will conduct a special Saturday play morning conducted by our new parent support program. It is open to families with children ages 0 to 3 years old, and that will be held at Bronco Youth Center. The beautiful thing about the Saturday play morning is for this particular one, we will be allowing the families to have their kids dress up in whoever they want to be, meaning they will be able to wear costumes. So we expect that it will be a fun event for our soldiers and their families.
Hey guys, this is Sean Davis with the Fort Cavazos Garrison Public Affairs, and I'm joined with a very special guest today, Lieutenant. Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Andrew Samaripa, and I'm from the Directorate of Emergency Services here at Fort Cavazos, where I serve as a public affairs officer and also a team chief for investigations.
Awesome. We just met just over at National Night Out. That was a lot of fun. Glad a lot of people came out for that. So we're just back in the office now, and we're here to talk about everyone's favorite holiday, Halloween.
Ooh.
Yeah, very spooky.
Yeah. All the ghosts and goblins are going to be out.
Yes,
so
it's
we have
gonna
to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, it's a great part of the post, seeing people make over their houses and kids get to go around. I mean, it's just a great getting together for everyone. What does the installation have in store for this year's Halloween celebrations?
Well, this year for Halloween, it is going to be on October 31st for the installation. It's going to be from 1800 to 2000 hours, or from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So in and around the housing area. So that's what our plans are for Halloween this year.
Okay, awesome. And for that in mind, obviously you work for the Department of Emergency Services. What are some of the safety things or safety tips that you see people always forget?
Well, it's funny how kids transform, right? So there are a variety of different characters that you're going to see out there.
Yes.
Our little ghosts and goblins and our little Toy Stories and our Marvel heroes are all going to be out in full force, right? The problem is that they're not big screen like they are on the theaters,
That's
right?
true.
They're little guys and gals, so they're running around and doing their thing. So one thing that I would suggest to parents is that when we talk about putting kids in costumes, make sure that they can see at least 180 degrees. So that way their peripheral vision, they'll catch things hopefully and avoid any types of tragedy. Okay, because that's what we don't want. Also mixing it up a little bit. Now I know scary costumes are in, and the more darker the better, right? But at the end of the day, we want to protect everything that we have in front of us. So just making sure that they have like reflective bags or just some sort of type of reflection that where a set of headlights can hit the costume and they know what's going on. So the driver at least will know to slow down and catch them in their eye and just kind of slow things down a little bit.
I've started taking it for granted now. I mean, the sunset is coming much sooner, especially around now, but I never lived in a place that, by 8:30ish, it's still sunny out. So that's one of the things that I think we have to remind ourselves is like the sun is going to start setting sooner, especially by the time Halloween comes by. You have to start keeping in mind like, visibility, lighting, safety. I know it's not just DES that's, contributing to holiday preparations, especially for Halloween on post. Can you speak to what other directorates and agencies are
Well,
doing?
I'm sure the community life NCOs will probably have their areas of business opened up, or they're going to be out there as well. So for the most part, on the Directorate of Emergency side of things, we'll be out there with our patrol officers. In fact, I'll be even working out there myself. So I'll be out there as well, just contributing to the overall safety and fun factor for what Halloween is. Okay, we want to make this a very memorable event for both parents and kids.
Okay, yeah, it's good to know. Now, we all appreciate a little bit of holiday enthusiasm, but there's always someone that likes to go a little bit overboard with, whether it's decorating or the costumes or things like that. Can you talk about what might be some of the limits or some of the restrictions that people should have in mind on post when it comes to Halloween decorations, costumes, stuff like that?
That's a great point that you brought up. There are some things, and that people get really into Halloween, and they really get into their props. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So one thing that we want to be cognizant of is that if you're going to throw a scare factor in there, the natural tendency to people is to run away. And then so when they run, they really don't have a direction except for where they turn to. And what we don't want is the props or the person to be so scary that it creates a panic. Okay. For an example, let's say you have a chainsaw and you do take the chain off the chainsaw. Okay.
Oh.
And you come out with leather mask with your chainsaw out. They're there trick or treating. You open up the door with your chainsaw going. Probably not a good idea, okay? Because that's going to scare the bejesus out of anybody, and they're going to run all 9 kinds of crazy, right? So we want to be able to be smart about our decorations and be smart about what kind of props that we use. Now, it's okay to probably have that audio sound in the background somewhere, maybe, but nothing to where it startles an individual and then causes panic.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, turns into a 911 call. Then we're coming over there, and then we're trying to figure things out. And you got 9 kinds of crazy ruckus going on, and then we're trying to. Oh, it was just Leatherface over there who was Mr. Smith, and then here we are. So we want to kind of keep those calls to a minimum.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You wanna do a little bit of startling, a little bit of a scare, but you don't want to incite a panic,
Right.
and you don't want to have props that are so good that you have to explain it to an officer
That
how
is
good
correct.
it is. Okay. That's a good point. So I know you'll be working, as you said, but what is the Samaripa family's plans for Halloween?
Well, it used to be we used to do trick or treat out here, and we'd go out in the Patton Park and do some trick or treating out there. But my kids are all grown up now, so I don't know what their plans are, but maybe adult plans for sure.
Okay.
But back in the day, there's some of my favorite memories with my kids, memorable moments where they were trick or treating here on the installation, and whether I was working or not working. The amount of safety and the environment here just lended to be kid friendly. Not only in Patton Park, Comanche, Kuma, it was just very kid friendly. And then so I felt that was important to have a safe environment here at the Great Place.
Okay, awesome. And then I think that pretty much covers most of the Halloween things. Oh, favorite Halloween candy?
Ooh, that's a tough one right there because I really like the Swedish Fish, but I can I can go for the Snickers. I'm a sucker for Snickers. You know what? Doc says I'm too sweet, so I don't need any more.
I think that pretty much covers it. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw something out there with the motorists, okay?
Okay.
Just make sure that you just slow it down. Even though the speed limit is it says what it says throughout the installation, as you go into the neighborhoods, kind of slow it down to about that 10, 15 mile an hour range, okay? Because kids will pop out of nowhere.
Yes.
And it's very hard to spot them. And then so I just ask the motorists to just be more cognizant and be aware about what's going on. Also, making sure you check your flashlights and your batteries.
Oh.
The brighter, the better, okay? Glow sticks go a long way too. So if you can incorporate that inside your costume and like maybe an alien or something like that, so that way they can still have fun, but they can also be safe as well. As a couple of tidbits of costume.
That's a good piece. Yeah, that's a good piece of advice, especially with today. Like if you look at costumes nowadays, they have like LED lights incorporated in them. That could be a good place to start.
Oh,
too.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because like I said, we just want to keep everybody safe, and I want it just as memorable with my kids as with everybody else's kids that are here on the installation.
So I think that was pretty much it. Thank you so much for coming out here. And to you watching this podcast, we look forward to seeing your Halloween costumes this Halloween. Make sure you're staying safe and stay tuned.
You're cheating.
Let's not go.
You're cheating. Hey, y'all ready? You're cheating. Let's go pop some caps. Yo, grab my weapon. It's in the chair.
Fine.
Oh, man. Nice. Bam!
Oh, easy up.
Is it loaded? Is it loaded? I don't know. Do you want to find out? Yeah, let's find out. What do you say, huh?
Ever hear the phrase, treat every weapon as if it were loaded?
It's clear.
Don't be an idiot next time.
And this is On Track with your Fort Cavazos Minute. We've got everything you need to stay informed and connected. Fort Cavazos Tedesco Way, within the 69th Air Defense Artillery Brigade Lightning Ranch area, will be closed 6:25 to 7:30 a.m. October 18th. Please plan accordingly. Fort Cavazos' gospel service have moved to Memorial Chapel, located at 1651 Legends Way, due to construction. Services begin at 11 a.m. Fort Cavazos, the Directorate of Family, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, and Cowboys for Heroes, a nonprofit organization, will hold the Cowboys for Heroes Bumpers and Barbecue event from 10:30 to 2 p.m. October 19th at Phantom Warrior Center. The event is free to all and will feature the free chuck wagon barbecue, arts and crafts, a pumpkin patch, and a car show. For more information, visit the show notes. Fort Cavazos community members who have completed a degree or certificate or will be within 9 semester hours of completion by October 24th may be recognized for their achievements at the 27th Annual Consolidated Graduation Recognition Ceremony at 1 p.m. October 24th at House Auditorium. For more information, call the Education Services Division at 254-287-9674. That's all for your Fort Cavazos Minute. Stay tuned for more updates and information to keep you on track. More information can be found in the links below. And welcome back to the Great Big Podcast. So, Sean, did you get anything good to take home out of today's discussions with Chris and Sammy?
Yeah, I think one of the major themes that both of them talked about was the importance of visibility. It's just a really big part of safety, and it's one of those things where you want to go outside, you want to have fun, you want to get creative with your costumes, but you don't want to do it at the expense of your individual and personal safety, especially when your kids are involved. You just want to have some fun. You don't want your night of trick-or-treating to end up in all tricks and, a tragedy.
You're absolutely right. That's something I do remember Chris talking about. High visibility clothing, maybe reflective light colors. I know it doesn't always work with the costumes, but I figured there's a way to get that worked in there. And I know Sammy was talking about something a little near and dear to me. I like to make things super fun and get a little crazy and scare the bejesus out of folks. But at the same time, we got to also remember that we got to kind of keep it in the right tone to have enough fun and not go out there freaking people out too bad.
Yeah. You don't want to have, like I said earlier, you don't want to have a scare that's so good or so frightening, you have to explain it to our friends over at the DES. So, keep things tasteful, have fun, but understand your limits.
Yeah. So, one thing we got to know, everybody's got to figure this out because it's a heated topic every year. Where do you stand on the candy corn war front?
I like it. I actually have really good memories of candy corn. I mean, they're just a regular, sweet, easily accessible treat, especially if you warm them up. If you carry some around in your pocket for some time, softens them. They're pretty good.
That is different.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Warm pocket candy corn. All for Sean. I'll take the Reese's peanut butter cups. So I had a great weekend this weekend myself. We got to hit up the Texas State Fair.
Oh,
I probably ate more food than should be legally allowed for a human, but it was delicious. I tried all the most ridiculous stuff. They put bacon in cotton candy, and I thought it was going to be disgusting, and it turned out to be really, really good. Not to mention all of the other award-winning little eats that they have there. There's rides for kids. It was a blast. A little warm, a little toasty, but it was still kind of cool. What did you get up to this last weekend?
no, I just took it easy. Just last weekend, I was working for most of Saturday, so it's nice to actually just catch up, do some household chores, get your stuff in order, and then take it easy. Yeah, I'm really excited for it to start cooling down. At least the nights now are a little bit just more mellow, so I'm really happy for that.
That's awesome. You know what they say, all work and no fun makes Jack a dull boy, right?
That's true.
You don't want to be putting axes through doors. We don't want another Shining. So you got to make sure you get out there and have fun. Don't always be working, Sean.
Yeah.
That's everything we've got for you today. Thanks for tuning in to the Great Big Podcast. Take care, y'all.
Bye.